It's happened so good for me in the past few months. All you people have made it happen for me. We thank Columbia Records and Epic, and we thank all our fans especially.
Welcome back to our channel. George Jones, the legendary icon of country music, was famous for his deeply emotional voice and timeless hits. Over the decades, he etched his name into the hearts of audiences with songs like He Stopped Loving Her Today, White Lightning, and Choices, becoming one of the greatest artists of all time. But behind the spotlight was a life filled with tragedy, a journey marked by struggles and pains that were hard to soothe. George Jones was not only a talented artist, but also a symbol of resilience. He went through storms of addiction, dark moments that seemed impossible to overcome, and the loneliness of facing himself. Nicknamed No-Show Jones, George lost his way more than once, yet he rose back strong, leaving his mark on music history. How could a man with so many scars and hidden struggles stand firm, inspire others, and leave behind an immortal legacy? Let's explore the dramatic and untold life of George Jones, the story of an artist who overcame all darkness to become a legend in country music. Early life. George Glenn Jones, born on September 12, 1931, in the impoverished lands of Saratoga, Texas, was one of many children in a large family from the Big Thicket area. His father, George Washington Jones, was a shipyard worker, a tough, straightforward man who played the guitar and harmonica. His mother, Clara, played the piano at the Pentecostal church every Sunday, with a simple yet profound love for music. The blend of a steadfast father and an emotionally rich mother unknowingly planted the seeds for a music career George never dared to dream of. From a young age, George experienced more than his share of pain and loss. A minor accident at birth, where the doctor accidentally broke his arm, perhaps foreshadowed a life filled with trials and hardship. At 7, when he first heard country tunes on the family's old radio, George felt himself pulled into a new world. Long nights listening to the music of Roy Acuff and Bill Monroe with his parents became cherished memories, where a young boy began to dream of something greater than the poverty surrounding him. Yet, his love for music was overshadowed by family darkness. After the death of his sister Ethel, George's father began sinking deeper into alcoholism, turning their small home into a battleground of violence and sudden outbursts. In those dark moments, George was often woken up in the middle of the night by his father, forced to sing to calm him, with threats of violence if he didn't comply. These haunting memories were scars that stayed with George, becoming a profound reason for him to pursue music as an escape. At 16, George decided to leave home, taking only his guitar and a thirst to explore the world beyond. He began his journey at small radio stations in Jasper, Texas, performing alongside other artists, sharing his voice and melodies with listeners. It was here that he first met his idol, Hank Williams. George described the experience as an irresistible enchantment, where he realized just how deep his love for music ran, dedicating his life to following it. George Jones entered the world of music shaped by a bitter and grueling childhood, but it was through these experiences that he found himself and developed an intense passion. Behind the sounds of his guitar and voice were wounds that never fully healed, a quiet force pushing him to emerge from the shadows. His early years forged a resilient man who would later become an artist the world would bow to in admiration. Early career. George Jones began his ambitious musical journey not on glamorous stages, but on the streets of Beaumont, Texas, where he performed to earn spare change. His rugged guitar playing and raw, wild voice gradually caught the attention of passers-by, turning him into a small phenomenon on those street corners, where both the young and old would stop to listen. In 1954, George's life took a new turn when he met famed music producer Pappy Daly, who saw immense potential in his emotive voice. Soon after, under Daly's guidance, George signed with Starday Records and released his debut single, No Money in This Deal. Though it didn't make an immediate impact, the single marked the first step in the journey of a then unknown talent. George didn't stop there. In 1955, he recorded Why Baby Why, his first hit, which began to spread his name throughout the country music scene. The song climbed to number 4 on the charts, quickly becoming a favorite at his performances. This was when George realized he was no longer just a street performer, but an artist capable of touching the public's heart. In his early career, George also crossed paths and performed with major names like Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash, joining tours with the Louisiana Hayride radio show. Despite the pressure from Elvis's success and the rising popularity of rockabilly music, George remained steadfast in his dedication to country music, refusing to chase the latest trends and striving to keep his authentic country roots. He even joked that his rockabilly recordings were used as flying saucers, because to him, they were mere distractions and not genuine art. In 1959, George officially reached his first career peak when White Lightning, a song about moonshine, became a #1 hit on Billboard's country chart. The song not only marked commercial success, but also helped define George's style, a voice unafraid to tell stories of simple, sometimes dark, American life. George's early career was also notable for his exceptional songwriting ability. He wrote and co-wrote many successful songs like Window Up Above and Seasons of My Heart, which later became classics covered by many other artists. George's songs captivated listeners not only with their melodies, but with their authentic everyday life themes, where he conveyed deep emotions and unembellished stories that left a lasting impact on his audience. Finally, his contract with United Artists in 1962 opened a new golden era in his career. He released a series of hits like She Thinks I Still Care, a song that elevated George's fame to new heights. His voice grew richer and more profound. His performance style began to carry a distinct personal stamp, setting him apart from his predecessors and contemporaries. George Jones's early career was a passionate journey of an artist who never accepted losing his true self. From a street-singing boy, George rose to become a major artist, staying true to his love for country music amid changing times. Those years laid the foundation for a legend, a man with an indomitable voice and a fierce love for authentic artistry. Successful career. When George Jones's career soared, with She Thinks I Still Care, his name rose to stardom and left an indelible mark on the public. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, George continued to produce hits like The Race Is On, Love Bug, and Walk Through This World With Me. He became a star not only for his powerful voice, but also for his ability to convey real-life stories that resonated with the sadness, joy, and aspirations of everyday Americans. Notably, his 1974 song, The Grand Tour, demonstrated George's talent for combining traditional country music with deep, poignant emotions, portraying loss in love and life. This song later became one of the genre's classics, resonating with fans across generations. In 1980, George Jones shocked the country music world and critics alike with He Stopped Loving Her Today. Considered one of the greatest country songs of all time, this track not only saved George's career, which was on the brink of decline, but also became a symbol of country music itself. He Stopped Loving Her Today tells the story of a man who continues to love his former partner until the day he dies, and George's voice transformed the tale into a beautifully tragic ballad filled with raw emotion. The song won a Grammy and numerous awards from the Country Music Association, CMA, marking his triumphant return after years of struggling with alcoholism and loneliness. The success of He Stopped Loving Her Today allowed George to sustain his career throughout the 1980s and 1990s. He released a series of critically acclaimed albums like Shine On, Jones Country, Who's Gonna Fill Their Shoes, and Wine-Colored Roses. These albums stood as a testament to his unwavering creativity and rare ability to convey deep emotions. The video for Who's Gonna Fill Their Shoes, a ballad paying tribute to late country artists, won CMA's Video of the Year award, further affirming George's status as a living legend in country music. George Jones's career was not confined to the recording studio, but extended to the stage. His performances were always heartfelt, drawing fans from far and wide. Despite personal struggles, George maintained his love and passion for music, which he expressed in every song and every performance. In 1992, he was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, a milestone recognizing his tireless dedication to the genre. Additionally, he was honored with a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2012, marking over half a century of contributions to music. In his final years, George continued to work, perform, and record, embodying the spirit of a resilient artist. He even planned a farewell tour called The Grand Tour in 2013. Sadly, this tour was cut short when he passed away just days before his last scheduled performance. The success and achievements of George Jones's career compose a symphony of genuine emotions and relentless effort. He overcame everything, from personal barriers to the limits of music itself, to become an immortal icon. His legacy is not only in his timeless songs, but also in the testament to the power of will, passion, and determination. George Jones, the legend of country music, will forever live in the hearts of music lovers with every note, every lyric. Personal life. George Jones's personal life was far from peaceful. It was filled with struggles, losses, and difficult choices. He went through 4 marriages, each marked by highs and lows, joy, pain, and valuable lessons that shaped George into the complex, talented artist he was. George married for the first time in 1950 to Dorothy Bonvillian, a brief union that lasted just over a year. They had a daughter named Susan, but the marriage quickly ended due to irreconcilable differences. This was a period when George was still finding his way in the music industry and beginning to face the first challenges of his personal life. His marriage to Dorothy left him with an early sadness and regret. After his first marriage, George met and married Shirley Ann Corley in 1954. This marriage lasted over a decade and was an important chapter in his life, both in terms of his career and family life. George and Shirley had 2 sons, Jeffrey and Brian. However, as George's career flourished, alcoholism began to seep into his life and greatly impacted his family. Shirley once tried hiding George's car keys to keep him from driving out to buy liquor. Yet he famously found a way to drive his lawnmower to the store, a well-known image illustrating his lack of control at the time. His life with Shirley was a period when George struggled deeply with alcohol addiction, ultimately causing irreparable cracks in their relationship. In 1968, Shirley decided to divorce him, leaving George in a state of loneliness and despair. Tammy Wynette was George's 3rd wife, and their marriage became one of the most famous relationships in country music. The two met in the early days of their fame when George had already achieved success, and Tammy was rising to stardom. Their love started like a beautiful story, but gradually turned tragic. Their marriage was marked by conflicts, jealousy, and George's endless bouts of drinking. Tammy stood by George during turbulent years in his career, and together they created iconic duets like Golden Ring and Near You. However, behind the stage lights, their life together began to fracture. In her memoir, Tammy described George's loss of control, his explosive anger, and his reckless actions while drunk. They made several attempts to mend their relationship, but ultimately it broke down, leading to a divorce in 1975. Yet, even after their separation, George and Tammy shared a special bond. They continued to collaborate and perform together, delivering deeply emotional performances that reflected the happiness and sorrow they had once shared. George's issues with alcohol and drugs not only affected his marriages, but also took a severe toll on his health and reputation. During this period, George was known for bizarre actions, like driving his lawnmower to a liquor store when he couldn't find his car keys. While these stories were humorously retold in his songs and videos, in reality, they were signs of a life spiraling out of control. After parting ways with Tammy Wynette, George continued to face personal struggles until he met his last wife and soulmate, Nancy Sepulvado. Nancy entered his life as a stabilizing force, helping him battle addiction and rediscover himself. George often shared that, while family, friends, and doctors all tried to help him escape the grip of alcohol and drugs, only Nancy's love and patience truly saved him. Though George and Nancy had no children together, he always regarded her as his life partner, confidant, and greatest source of support. They faced many challenges together, with Nancy becoming his companion, protector, and life manager until the end of his life. George Jones's personal journey was one of heartbreak, mistakes, and redemption. He faced his inner darkness, experienced profound loss and suffering, but ultimately found light through love and perseverance. This journey tells not just the story of a talented artist, but of a man who overcame himself to live a more meaningful life. Struggle with addiction and Nancy's role. George Jones's life was inseparable from his fierce battle with addiction. A painful journey marked by repeated downfalls, ultimately saved by the love and patience of Nancy Sepulvado, his last wife and soulmate. George began drinking at a young age, just as his music career was taking off. Fame and success brought him not only wealth, but also unchecked freedom, and he gradually became drawn to alcohol and drugs as a way to escape personal pressures and pain. Alcohol became a dangerous companion, often causing him to lose control, sending his personal life and career into a downward spiral. In the 1970s, George's alcoholism worsened to the point where he earned the nickname No-Show Jones, a moniker referring to his frequent cancellations or late arrivals to performances due to his drinking. These missed performances and his lack of control severely damaged his reputation and his image with fans. On some occasions, he missed not only concerts, but also important moments in his life, turning his music career into a string of disappointments for his audience. In 1981, George's life took a new direction when he met Nancy Sepulvado. Nancy was not part of the entertainment industry, but she saw beyond the image of a country star engulfed in addiction and instability to the true man underneath. They married in 1983, and from then on, Nancy became his solid anchor, tirelessly working to bring George back to the light. Nancy began to help George break free from addiction in a strong yet gentle way. She dismissed unreliable friends and managers who had encouraged George to continue his reckless lifestyle. Nancy meticulously managed his life, keeping him in a healthy environment and encouraging him to perform on time, slowly rebuilding the trust of his fans. It was Nancy who helped George understand that only sobriety and a sense of responsibility could preserve his legacy. The most significant turning point in George's battle with addiction came in 1999 when he was involved in a serious car accident. While driving and talking with Nancy's daughter, George lost control and crashed into a concrete bridge, sustaining severe injuries. It took doctors over 2 hours to extract him from the car, and he flatlined twice during the helicopter flight to the hospital. In those life-or-death moments, George realized his life was on the verge of total collapse. Nancy, who was by George's side through those crucial moments, became his motivation to make the most important commitment of his life: to quit drinking forever. George promised Nancy that he would never touch alcohol or drugs again, and kept that promise for the rest of his life. It was a difficult decision for someone who had relied on alcohol for decades. But with Nancy's love and patience, George achieved what no one thought possible. After the accident, George's life gradually stabilized. He continued to record, perform, and maintain a sober lifestyle. He regained the love and support of his fans, even becoming a symbol of powerful recovery in the country music world. Nancy was not only his wife, but also his companion, confidant, and spiritual support, who helped him overcome the storm of addiction, allowing him to live his final years in peace and pride for his accomplishments. George Jones's battle with addiction was a painful and challenging journey, but thanks to Nancy's love and strength, he not only overcame it but also restored his life and reputation. Nancy saved him from the depths of addiction, helped him become a better person, and left behind a proud legacy for those who loved him. Final years and legacy. The final years of George Jones's life were not only a time for him to reflect on a turbulent yet glorious career, but also a period of sobriety, peace, and happiness alongside his wife Nancy, who had helped him conquer the dark shadows of addiction. Though his health gradually declined, George continued to perform and sustain his music career until the very end, reaffirming that music was his breath and his greatest driving force. In 2012, George announced a farewell tour called the Grand Tour, which was set to span 60 cities. It was not only a way to say goodbye to the stage, but also a tribute to his fans, the people who had stood by him through countless ups and downs. However, his dream of a perfect farewell was not to be fully realized. In April 2013, just weeks before completing the tour, George was hospitalized due to complications from respiratory issues. After 6 days in intensive care, he passed away on April 26, 2013, at the age of 81, leaving behind immense sorrow among his fans and the country music world. George Jones's funeral was held in Nashville and attended by thousands, including major country music stars like Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Vince Gill, and many others. The songs and music at his memorial were not just a farewell to a legend, but a celebration of a life fully lived and dedicated to music. George was laid to rest at Woodlawn Cemetery in Nashville with a headstone inscribed with the words, "He stopped loving her today," the song that revitalized his career and solidified his place in country music history. George Jones's legacy is more than just his hit songs and pure country voice. It's the profound impact he had on the generations of artists that followed. With songs like "He Stopped Loving Her Today," "Choices," "Golden Ring," and "The Grand Tour," George redefined country music, capturing authentic emotions and the everyday stories of Americans. His soulful voice allowed listeners to not only hear his songs, but also feel the pain, joy, hope, and longing within them. Artists such as Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Garth Brooks, and many other prominent names in country music have openly acknowledged George Jones as an inspiration. Alan Jackson once said, "When you hear George Jones sing, you feel a man turning a song into a work of art, an emotional journey that's raw and powerful." George's voice wasn't merely an instrument for delivering music, but an emotional vehicle that touched listeners' hearts on a profound level. To his fellow artists, he stood as a symbol of resilience and an unwavering love for music. His autobiography, "I Live to Tell It All," is a valuable legacy that recounts his life not only from the perspective of an artist, but also as a man who endured harsh ups and downs. After his passing, Nancy Jones continued to protect and honor his legacy by founding the George Jones Museum in Nashville. The museum, filled with mementos and stories from his life, allows fans and future generations to gain a deeper understanding of this country music legend. George Jones was more than just a giant in country music. He was a symbol of an era, embodying and expressing country music in its most authentic form. His final years were a testament to the power of rebirth and determination, showing that no matter the hardship, one can rise above and leave a significant legacy for the world. George Jones's legacy will forever live on in the hearts of music lovers and those who find kinship in his sincere and poignant voice. He stands as living proof that art can transcend personal struggles, inspire, and leave an indelible mark in the hearts of audiences. Though George Jones is gone, his melodies will continue to echo, becoming the voice of a generation and a cherished memory in country music history. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more exciting content. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next video. Goodbye.